If we can all rise while we recite the council prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction, which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be good for our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rodney. Roll call, please.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Elliott. Here. Councilor Kazandrian.
Here.
Councilor Lenzi.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Armand Mercier. Councilor Rita Mercier. Councilor Milanazzo. Councilor Broderick.
Here.
6 present, 3 absent.
Thank you. I would ask my colleagues for a moment of silence with darkened chambers for Rita Rourke, matriarch of a very well-respected family, a very devoted and loving wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. Mrs. Rourke was the mother of 7 children, 17 grandchildren, and 18 grandchildren. And also for James Tully, a loving and devoted husband, father, grandfather. Mr. Tully was the father of 9 children and 40 grandchildren. Mr. Tully was a dedicated parishioner of St. Margaret's Church and a longtime member of Mount Pleasant Country Club. May we rise in darkened chambers for a moment of silence. Thank you. May they rest in peace. If we can accept the minutes of the last meeting by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Elliott, place those minutes on file. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes have been accepted and placed on file. Communications from Manager Lynch. Any discussion on those communications? Accept the minutes and place them on file by Councilor Lindsay, seconded by Councilor Martin. We have 2 requests for out-of-state travel. Any discussion on those requests? If no, roll call.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. Roll call.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Armand Mercier. Councilor Rita Mercier. Councilor Milanazzo. Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
6 yeas, 3 absent.
Moving on with the agenda, a loan order to borrow $2.2 million for the purpose of financing upgrades to the Public Safety E91 Communication and Emergency Operations Center, including remodeling and all engineering costs related thereto, and the purchase and installation of computer software, computer hardware, and equipment for such facility. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Kazandjian. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. The full reading is waived. This is going to be referred to a public hearing with the council's approval on 3/25, March 25th. All in favor of sending this to a public hearing, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Going to a public hearing the 25th.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I could just ask, is any of the work, we able to begin any of the work on this, or is it really waiting for the loan order to be approved?
Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
Council, that the work isn't being delayed in any way by this. The design work is already underway. It's being bid out right now. This money will be available in time to proceed with the construction.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions pertaining to that issue? Moving on with the agenda, $75,562 to various accounts, salary and wages, see attachment, $11,714, $50,233, $7,690, $4,784, a total of $75,562 from overlay surplus, $11,714, $50,233, $7,690, $4,784, $75,562. Second reading by title. In the amount of $75,562 is to be transferred, and I believe this far is Mr. Manager, if you could explain.
Mr. Mayor, this is the transfer necessary to fund the contracts that were approved by the City Council last week. This money comes from our overlay account. I had indicated at a prior meeting that we had sufficient funds to in the overlay account, overlay surplus, to fund the collective bargaining agreements that we were settling. So we're transferring the money as each of the contracts is approved.
Any discussion from the council? Roll call.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia. Councilor Rita Mercia. Councilor Milonazo. Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
6 yeas, 3
Moving on with the agenda, Mayor Edward Caulfield, members of the City Council, regarding the Lowell Historic Board notice of reappointment request for confirmation. Dear Mayor Caulfield, members of the City Council, pursuant to the authority vested in me as the city manager under Section 5A of Chapter 566 of the Acts of 1983, I have reappointed the following person to the Lowell Historic Board: Rachel Edlin, 390 Pawtucket Street, Lowell, Mass. 01854, as the Boston Society of Architects, American Institute of Architects members for a 2-year term expiring February 28, 2010. Under the above referenced statute, confirmation by the City Council is required for this reappointment and is hereby requested. Any discussion on this appointment? Move for approval by Councilor Kazandrian, second by Councilor Lenzi. Roll call.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia. Councilor Rita Mercia. Councilor Milonazo. Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
6 yeas, 3 absent.
Moving on with the agenda. Authorizing the City Council to ratify the execution of the city manager for a memorandum of agreement between the City of Lowell and the Merrimack Valley Employment Agency, Unit D, covering the period July 1st, 2007 through June 30th, 2010. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Lenzi. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any approved? Second reading by title, authorizing the City Council to ratify and approve the execution by the City Manager of the Memorandum of Agreement between the City of Lowell and the Merrimack Valley Employees Association, Unit D, covering the period of July 1st, 2007 through June 30th, 2010. Any discussion from the council? Roll call.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia. Councilor Rita Mercia. Councilor Milonazo. Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
6 yeas, 3 absent.
An ordinance creating 2 sergeants' positions and establishing the salaries thereof in the police department. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Lenzi, seconded by Councilor Kazandrian. All in favor of waiving the full reading, saying aye. Any opposed? Full reading is waived. Second reading by title, an ordinance creating 2 sergeant positions and establishing the salaries therefore in the police department. If the council approval, we will send this to a public hearing March 25th.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Manager, could you please, through the mayor to the manager, can you explain why we're creating 2 new sergeants' positions as a result of a settlement? And it's what we agreed to, and it's the most, I guess, expedient and least costly way to settle that bus case. Is that right?
That's it in a very simply stated, Councilor, that this was the case most people know as the bus case. Number of officers against the city of Lowell. We have been in discussions with those plaintiffs through the mediation process under the direction of the court, and we've come to an agreement which includes the promotion of 2 of the individuals to the sergeant's position. As I indicate in my letter, that essentially what we would do is we would create these new positions for these individuals, and that the positions would automatically expire upon the eventual vacancies of these individuals as these people either retire or move into other positions. So it would be an immediate short-term creation of 2 sergeants within the existing table of organization, and then eventually we would go back to our existing number of
And what's the variance, what's the difference in pay? Because these are 2 employees that are currently on the books, so we need to find money for the difference between a patrolman's salary and a sergeant's salary?
I believe it's roughly about
Or is it-
$12,000 each.
Okay, but there's still
I'll
2,
get that for you for the public hearing, though.
and if there are some retirements, if there are some transfers or something like that, then we don't have to backfill them, and that's our
correct.
plan, not to backfill them.
Exactly.
But under the decision, we agreed to it, and this is part of the settlement.
Exactly.
It is, okay,
Council
thank
Broderick?
you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I understand the settlement. Question I have, this is going to come for a public hearing.
To 25th.
Okay. Could we get an update, maybe in the packet, as to, are the unions on board with this?
We'll get that for you for that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion on this particular issue? Okay, subcommittee reports. Council Elliott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Flood Subcommittee just finished its meeting about 15 minutes ago, and I'll try to recap the meeting as best as I can. But essentially, we met 1 week ago, and this was a follow-up, and we will be meeting again on the 24th of March, 2 weeks, to continue our discussion on a number of issues and continue to try to address flood issues affecting both the Beaver Brook and the Clay Pit Brook area as they see fit. We did receive, I guess first off, there was a letter that we received at the last meeting that really focused most of the discussion. That was on the flashboards on the Pawtucket Dam. And that's where the concern from the people in the Clay Pit Brook area is that at the higher elevation, groundwater, the water doesn't go over the falls, which increases groundwater in that particular area. It also restricts water that was able to flow out of the Clay Pit Brook area. So the manager has met with an Boot Corporation to discuss those flashboards, and naturally in their letter they don't think that having those flashboards up contribute to any flooding in that particular area. So we're going to continue to have discussion. The manager spoke with the permitting authority for Boot Hydro, and that would be the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. They issue the permits and govern all aspects of that permit for the 4 hydro plants actually in Lowell. We did receive, I did see a communication, an email from someone at Boot Hydro saying that they are releasing as much water as they are allowed to release under their permit. And the manager did indicate tonight that they are only allowed under that permit to open their floodgates at the hydro plant to release up to 10,000 gallons of water based upon the permit and environmental issues that may affect that. So the manager is going to continue to try to get federal FERC hopefully to the next meeting. They have reviewed the information from Boot Hydro, as well as other information that we received from a professor at UMass Amherst that has looked at some of the hydrogeological studies. But the other contention is that the flashboards are not toppling like they used to have. They have been in many, many years. And the concern is that they're using a different steel, they're a different diameter, they're setting the capstones deeper, which very well could be the case. And we do want FERC to look at that, and that if that is the case, they're not using the materials and they're not working according to how they were supposed to be designed. So that's the first issue. Brian Martin from Congressman Tsongas' office has been involved in working with FERC and the Army Corps of Engineers. Last Friday, the city received the first study in the Beaver Brook area from the Army Corps of Engineers. The manager and the engineer, city engineer, went through the 2 options. This is just a draft. It will not be final until April. But the manager's office is committed to putting the report online in a PDF file, hopefully within a week. It's a long report, and there are some there's some challenges in getting into a PDF file, but it'll also be available in the engineer's office for those that do want a copy. The two options in the FERC study, in the Army Corps of Engineers study, Plan A costs $1.2 million to put the levee up, and Plan B costs $2.3 million. The manager's going to work with Congressman Saunders' office to put a request into the federal government to have funds dedicated for this project, and as well as follow up with an update on a request to the Army Corps of Engineer for money to be dedicated to the Clay Pit Brook area for a study, flood study in that particular area. I think that's a recap of the meeting. We're going to meet again. The subcommittee and the manager and the mayor and the council, we're committed to being vigilant on working on these flood issues, particularly as we go into, the spring season with flooding issues and the snow melt up north. The manager also contacted the Army Corps of Engineers to look at the Merrimack River Basin, and he's going to continue to keep in touch with them to look at when do they release water, and to see if we can mitigate any emergency release, considering how much snow was up north. So, the mayor reported he spoke to some skiers, and that, for better or for worse, the skiers aren't happy, but the rains this past weekend did melt quite a bit of the snow, and that's a good sign. The more snow that melts up north, the less impact it has down here. So, I know Council Kazanjian was at the meeting. Mayor Mercy is in Florida. She wasn't able to attend the meeting, but she's certainly on top of these issues. I know Council Kazanjian may have some things to add, because it was quite a bit of information, a lot of items and issues discussed. That's the report from the Flood Subcommittee.
Council Lindsay?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager, just going to the flashboards in Lawrence, did we answer the question tonight why Lawrence flashboards were changed and not Lowell's, or was that something we're still investigating?
That was a decision that was made by Enel. I'm not sure of all of the reasons that went behind that. It could be that it's a smaller dam, but I do know that here they were having, they've already had some issues with the National Park Service. The Park Service has indicated opposition to the inflatable flashboards. Hopefully, as we go through this process, we'll be able to convince the Park Service that, in fact, that they will be historically accurate enough, but more importantly, that they'll be provide a very important service to the citizens of the city in the Pawtuckettville area that are affected by this flooding. But I know that that's an issue that they're grappling with here in Lowell, but I think it was more just a decision to go there first as opposed to here, and I think it was just simply a business decision.
Council Kazanjian?
So basically, you're saying the national park is holding up this inflatable?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
At this time, it's a matter of getting the ones in Lawrence done and then moving up here. At some point down the road, the Park Service could be a problem if we can't convince them to alter their view. But at this point in time, Enel wouldn't be here right now, even if the Park Service said yes. But a year from now or 2 years from now, that could be an issue. So we need to get on top of that. We already are.
Right. Thank you.
Accept the report as a report of progress by Councilor Martin. Yeah, Councilor Martin, go ahead.
I just want to note that I didn't attend or speak on this issue because I didn't want the fire alarm to go off again.
Accept the report as a report of progress by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. All in favor of accepting the report, place it on file. The report is placed on file. Moving on with the agenda. City of Lowell, Commonwealth of Massachusetts report, Department of Public Works, Division of Streets and Highways, Superintendent of Wires, National Grid, Willie Street, one pole location. Adopt the accompanying orders by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All in favor of accepting the report? Report has been accepted. Moving on with the petitions. Petitions. Falcon Insurance and Financial Services, 28 Cabot Street, request overhanging sign, referred to the Law Department by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Thank you. This is a petition from Daniel Kuchu, request city name corner of South and Appleton Streets as Kuchu Square. Refer this to the manager by Councilor Kazanjian, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Discussion?
The square, Mr. Manager, I think we now have there's been a subcommittee or a committee established for dedication of squares. Maybe you can direct Mr. Kuchar to the committee.
Well, if I refer this to the manager, then the manager can refer it to the committee. Is that okay, Council? Yes.
I come down here today. I used to work for Locks and Canals for 8 years, chief manager. And when they wanted to build a bid, the Army Corps of Engineers called me to talk to me. The flash boards are shot for flash floods in case it comes up. The ice won't take down the whole dam.
We're not on that, sir.
Okay.
We're on the naming a square. What is your
My
issue?
name's Daniel Akucha. I'm
Okay.
dying, and I like that square named after me.
Okay.
Anybody opposed?
Your petition has been referred to City Manager Lynch,
I'm gonna see him.
and that's gonna be referred to
Is that him?
yes,
city
to the
manager?
committee, and it will address that.
Okay.
All right?
See ya.
Thank you. Moving on with the agenda, we have a petition here from Virginia Michaels, request address council regarding the proposed power plant in Borica. Just give us your name, please, and address.
My name's Virginia Michaels. I live in Lowell at 62 Highland Street. The reason that I'm here, first of all, I want to thank the City Council and Mayor Caulfield and City Manager Lynch for giving us the opportunity to speak on the issue of the proposed North Borica power plant. I have an associate with me here, Prudence Brighton, who also is a Lowell resident who may want to add a couple of words too. We're independent citizens. We're not part of any affiliated group. It's our belief, and my belief along with other people in the region, that the plant itself would have potential to adversely impact the greater Lowell region. Therefore, it would need regional consideration and debate. The reason that I'm here tonight is that we would like to see the city of Lowell take on a similar stand to that of Chelmsford and Tewksbury Boards of Selectmen. There is incredible amounts of pollution that have already been revealed that would be emanated from the 6 brand-new smokestacks, which would cause incredible potential harm to the health of the Lowell residents, as well as the Billerica, Tewksbury, and Chelmsford. Anybody within a 3 to 5 mile radius would be in jeopardy. There's a lot of testing going on right now to have it authorized by agencies such as MEPA, but there's also the fact that even though it may qualify within the checklist of what's okay according to a chart or okay according to a regulation, the overall big picture is something that really needs to be considered. Is this a good idea for our neighborhood? Do you want to add a word, Prudence?
Prudence Brighton, 1461 Pawtucket Boulevard in Lowell. I came to support Ginny. I think that we really need to start taking a look at the kind of energy plants we're authorizing. It's beyond time to focus on clean energy, and I don't think this meets that qualification. Thank you.
Are any members of the council who would like to weigh in on this particular issue? Councilor Broderick, or anybody?
I was going to make a motion to refer to the manager for some type of report. I'm not
Yes.
too sure what kind of action we can take, maybe the law department.
Refer this petition to the manager by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. All in favor of referring this petition to the manager, signify by saying aye. No one opposes. I'd just like to weigh in just a little bit on this particular issue. First of all, we do have a power plant at Tanner Street. It's operating. It's fine. It's safe. It's healthy, and so forth. It's going to be fed with natural gas, and it's 85 megawatts. I believe the plan in Borica, the plan in Lowell is 1/4 the size of the one in Borica. But I do believe, reading some statements from experts that they hired, the town of Borica hired the professor from the Harvard Medical School and so forth, he estimated that it wouldn't have any impact on the quality of air or the quality of life of people surrounding that plant. And where everyone is looking for electricity and generating electricity and the cost of heating oil and so forth, I don't know, where would you turn to? Where would you generate this electricity? The plant is going to be fed with natural gas. And according to the report here, that the negative to the quality of air would be like sitting in traffic for 3 minutes waiting for the red light to turn green. You know, there's more danger to the quality of air in our lives from car exhaust than it would be from this plant. So we refer this to the manager and the law department, and we'll certainly address your concerns, okay?
Mayor?
Yes.
Just on this, what is the public process that takes place by, whether it's the permitting process or, people in the neighborhood, Southfield neighborhood, or in the entire city, I suppose, should be aware, and I know I filed this motion a while ago. Are they in the permitting process? Is there a public hearing, list, or just so people know?
Yeah, I'll refer this to Mr. Sheehan. He's most familiar with this process.
Councilor, the project has been under state permitting for, I think, the better part of a year under the MEPA process, the Massachusetts Environmental Protection Act. The MEPA office of the state government is reviewing this. It's in this case, a project of this size, it's a two-stage review. Starts with an environmental notification form, which is sort of the short form of the environmental permitting process. It then gets kicked up to the environmental impact report, which is the process that they're in now. I'm not sure if the comment period is open now. We can look into that and have that as part of the report so that we can provide that information to the residents as well as the council.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussions on this particular petition? If not, we'll move on with the agenda. We have 4 claims. Property damage referred to the law department by Council Martin, seconded by Council Lindsay. All in favor, sending those 4 claims to the law department, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The claims are on the way to the law department. We have one motion from Councilor Elliott. City Council requests the city manager to contact the State House delegation relative to the reopening of the Solomon Mental Health Center, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. On the motion.
The motion really speaks for itself, Mr. Manager, but I do go by there every day, and I see some activity going on, and it was a number of years ago we had a long discussion when the state closed it and what would happen to the particular, to folks in this particular area that need that service. So I'm not sure what is going on up there, if it is open, if it's not open. But I do know that, a lot of the folks that may have benefited from that in the past are ending up in the hospitals, in the emergency rooms. And I know that firsthand, in fact, whether it's, the police or ambulance, they drop them off at the emergency room, and it's holding up a bed for someone that clearly needs to go through it needs additional or other attention other than, immediate medical. So I don't know what the plans are, if it's open, if it's a funding issue, but there clearly is a need for, and it sort of emanates from, folks, the shelter area, whether there's not enough assistance up at Tewksbury Hospital, but that building was built for a reason, and clearly in this particular area there is a need. I think the closest place is either Emerson and Neshoba, and then they have to go all the way to, is it Lynn, to find any, mental health needs. So that's the motion. If you can contact, find out what's going on. If they're open, we certainly need that service in this particular area.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, Councilor, I did speak with Representative Golden yesterday, and this was a topic of discussion because it was seen as being on the agenda. He's indicated that they are working in that direction. we'll get a more formal report.
Oh, okay.
And we'll get that to the council.
Good, thank you, I appreciate that.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Motion passes. Any other discussion? Council Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are going to call a subcommittee meeting for the Personnel Subcommittee to take up the residency issue for September 26th at 6 p.m. I'm sorry, did I say September? Oh, that's a little too far out. March 26th at 6 p.m. That's a Wednesday night in the council chambers. Thank you.
I just want, yes, Council Martin. What's it on?
Just the one next to you.
Knew there was a reason Armin wasn't here. I have the latest filing from Comcast. I think it's just something that's required by regulation, the copy of their sample bill, their rate sheet, a sample work order. I don't think any council action is required for this. Just wanted to confirm that
That's
with the
correct.
manager. So, thank you.
I just want to remind the council and the viewing audience at home, Manager Lynch's breakfast is Friday morning at the Doubletree Hotel. We will have a good time, probably tell a few jokes and have wonderful camaraderie, and it's good for a good cause as well. I also want to notify the council that the Holy Trinity Hellenic Orthodox Church will be celebrating its 100th anniversary Saturday, March 15th. There'll be a mass there at 9 a.m. His Eminence Metropolitan Methodius of Boston will be presiding, so I'd like to see as many people there as we help celebrate their centennial. Any other? Yes, Councilor Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to congratulate the Lowell High School basketball team for an outstanding season. I think they were 22-2 this year, and they had a heartbreaking loss at the Songus Arena the other night to Central Catholic. But I want to congratulate them and maybe invite them to the chambers possibly for a citation next week or in the near future.
Councilor Lindsay, I attended the game, and it was an exciting game, and it was, Councilor Kazanjian was there as well. Maybe many of the councils were there, but it was a heartbreaking loss. But those youngsters have nothing to be ashamed of. Those youngsters are role models for an awful lot of kids in the city, and I told them that. And I already requested for Bill Samaras to furnish the names of those players, girls and boys, and we will be presenting them with citations. So, Councilor Lindsay, that was a great gesture, and thank you for bringing it forward. It's, the alarm's going to go off, Councilor Martin, I know it is. Any other discussion? Thank you for a wonderful meeting. Move to adjourn by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. Thank you.